Okay, so here we're going to start looking at writing some rules for these tables using the equation of f of x or y equals mx plus b. So to do so, we're going to first find our change in y over our change in x. That will give us our m. Okay, m is the change in y over the change in x. To go from 11 to 8, you subtract 3. Conversely, to go from -3 to 2, you add 1. If we go from 8 to -1, we are subtracting 9 and keeping the same values, or the corresponding values. -2 to 3, we are adding 3. Our change in y over our change in x is -3 over +1, -9 over 3. Our m here is -3. Okay, -9 over 3 is -3, -3 over 1 is -3. You will, if you do this correctly, you will get the same m regardless of the values you chose. I just wanted to show you that you can use any of these values. Now we have the -3. So as we start to write our rule, we can say f of x equals -3x. Now we need to look at what our plus b is. Here, when our x is 0, right here, when our x is 0, our y value is 2. So our b here is plus 2. So our rule for this function is f of x equals -3x plus 2. What does that mean? That means when you take a value of x and you plug it into this -3x and you add 2, what will you get for the y? Well, that's what we're going to find. So we're going to use our function notation. We're going to check 3 of these values. So we're going to check f of -3. We're going to plug it into this formula that we have, that equation, so -3. And then our value of x is -3 plus 2. -3 times -3 is 9. 9 plus 2 is 11. So when we input -3 into here, which is our independent variable, we get the value of 11, which is our y, which is our dependent variable. F of -2, we get -3. Now we're going to put in our x for the formula, plus 2. -3 times -2 is 6. 6 plus 2 is 8. And then f of 3, -3 times 3 plus 2. -3 times 3 is -9. -9 plus 2 is -7. So these values check out. Let's look at a different example. Here we do not have an x value of 0, but we can still use this. We just have to use some algebra. So so first we need to find how we go from -13 to -5. Well, we are going to add 8. This part is all addition. Then you divide the change in y over the change in x. -9 to -3 is plus 6. -5, if we want to skip, -5 to 7 is plus 12. And using the corresponding values, -3 to 9 is plus 9. So our m here, we have 8 over 6, which reduces to 4/3. And we could also look at, if we had chosen the other value, 12 over 9. Both of those are divisible by 3, and you get 4/3. So our m is 4/3. So for our value, or for our equation, we would so far write it as 4/3 x. Now we don't know if this is going to be a subtraction or if this is going to be a minus. So now we need to use function notation to find what our plus b is. So let's substitute in. So f of negative 9 is, we're going to get 4/3 times negative 9, right? Plus a value of b to get us negative 13. So, you know what, we'll just put a colon here so we'll have some of the equal signs. 4/3 times negative 9, you can put a 1 under here. You don't have to. So 3 and negative 9 are both divisible by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. So negative 12 plus b equals negative 13. We can do our algebra here, but I'm going to go ahead and show you with another one. So now we're going to skip to the, we're just going to go to negative 3. So f of negative 3, okay? So now we're going to substitute. So 4/3, okay, right? That's what our m is, times negative 3 plus b equals negative 5. Remember, this is our input. We are inputting something into this rule, okay? So basically we're saying plus b into this rule to get these output values. So 3 and negative 3 are both divisible by 3. Okay, so this would give us negative 1. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Negative 4 plus b, negative 5. And just if we want to look at one more, f of 6, you probably figured out the rule by now. But f of 6, 4/3 times 6 plus b is supposed to equal 7. So 3 and 6 are divisible by 3. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus b equals 7. So here our b is negative 1. All right, so because negative 4 plus negative 1, 8 plus negative 1, negative 12 plus negative 1. So we're not going to write plus negative 1. That's just not how you do it in algebra. We are going to write minus 1. This is our rule. Every single one of these, if we had written like, if we wrote over here, let's do a different color. We said negative 12 minus 1, you do same, change, change. Negative 4 minus 1, same, change, change. That'll give you negative 5. And of course, 8 minus 1 gives you 7. Let's look at one more example. So now we're going, again, we have to find this rule, and we have to find our b value as well. So here we're going to say from 9 to 5, that's negative 4, and negative 4 to 2 is plus 2. I'm going to go ahead and skip down 5 to negative 9 while I subtract 14 to go from 5 to negative 9, and I add 7 to go from negative 2 to 5. So our m is negative 2. Negative 4 divided by 2, negative 14 divided by 7. So our rule so far is f of x equals negative 2x. So now we're looking for the plus b. This is the part that we need to find. So let's use our function notation to find this. So let's substitute in. So for f of negative 4, you put in negative 2 times negative 4 plus b equals 9. Well, negative 2 times negative 4 is 8. 8 plus b is 9. Probably figured out the rule here. Let's skip down to 1. Okay, and you could do it for all of them. Negative 2 times 1, okay, plus b equals negative 1. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Negative 2 plus b. How do you go from negative 2 to negative 1? And let's use the 3 here. So f of 3 is negative 2 times 3 plus b equals negative 5. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Negative 6 plus b equals negative 5. So here you most likely see, okay, this is plus 1, and plus 1. Our b here is plus 1. So we are going to just erase this. That was there just as a placeholder for you. And we're going to write plus 1. Our rule for this, the rule for this function is f of x equals negative 2x plus 1. And if you wanted to, you could add in another value. We'll say if we have 7, so we wanted to do find f of 7. So f of 7 is negative 2 times 7 plus 1. Negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. Negative 14 plus 1 is negative 13. So that's how you can use function notation to find the rule and also just to find other values. I hope this helped. Good luck.